Welcome back, everybody. This is the thejonnymar, and I am continuing with Final Fantasy III for the PSP. So my last episode, we went to Falgabard, and we actually got a Dark Knight into our party. And in this episode, we're going to use that Dark Knight to its fullest ability in the next plot-related dungeon. So in between episodes, you might notice I got up to level 46, and I also bought a Dragon Lance for my Dragoon. So now he is even more powerful, if that is possible. So to find the next plot-related dungeon, we need to head basically just to the east. So we'll head out to kind of the main avenue here, just south of Saronia, and then we're going to head due east. Now this actually takes us to 2 points of interest. The next plot dungeon area, which is the Cave of Shadows or the Cave of Darkness, and then we can also find the statues that are protecting Xandi. If you head to the north here a little bit, there are the statues. Now we'll be coming back to those once we grab the last Fang, which is the Fang of Earth. But first we need to head to the dungeon. So this place is kind of weird. You have to keep progressing and getting over these little mountain areas. And I get it, right? They wanted to essentially make it that you couldn't get here without the invincible. But this seems a little bit extreme to me. That you have to do this so many times to get around this loop to get to the middle and actually get to the dungeon. And this entire time, you can get random encounters. This is one of the few areas where random encounters can occur when you're in an airship. Now, the nice thing about the Invincible is that while you are piloting the Invincible, essentially, if you do get a random encounter, the Invincible will fire at the enemies and will do a little bit of damage to them. And that is reminiscent of Final Fantasy Legend 3. When you were on the airship in that game, you could find upgrades for it, and it would attack enemies if you were on the overworld in the airship. So that's kind of cool. Alright, so here's the dungeon. So we're going to save, and then we're going to head on in to the Cave of Shadows, or the Cave of Darkness. And there are a lot of bones in here. So the enemies have been picking through stuff. I don't know if they're attacking each other, cannibalizing each other, or there's just been that many things kind of wandering in here. But this dungeon, as I mentioned in my last episode, is kind of infamous because it has a lot of hidden path areas. So to progress through the dungeon, there's stairs, but there's also a lot of hidden paths that you have to locate in order to progress. So there's some good equipment in here. So we're going to make sure we grab it all. And we actually have a Dark Knight here that essentially has been mortally wounded, and he wants to give us a new weapon that we already have, and that is the Kotetsu. But if you're using multiple Dark Knights in this area, that could be helpful. And we're sad. The Dark Knight died. Sorry, Dark Knight. I guess you should have been higher level. So we've seen these guys before. They were actually in the previous dungeon area of Falgabard. And again, they are splitting enemies. So just as a final reminder here with splitting enemies, physical attacks that don't kill them or aren't dark elemental like a katana will cause them to divide if they survive. So you want to use physical attacks that will either kill them in one hit, that are dark elemental like a katana, or a magic attack. Unless you want them to divide. I mean, that's up to you. They don't give a lot of experience. I would assume if they divide and you kill a bunch of them, that multiplies the experience. But I'm not 100% sure of that. Now, there are enemies in this area that are not dividing enemies. They don't split. And that hell horse on the left there is an example of one. So that is a regular enemy. You can attack that with normal attacks. But we'll take it out quickly anyway. Our usual tactics here are going to work just fine. And you'll notice that these enemies are in battle because your experience will be much higher at the end of the battle once you defeat all the enemies. So some of these hidden paths are very twisty. They're going to send you back and forth to the left and the right, across the room. And it can get a little bit annoying at times, but it is what it is. Now, in the NES version, the Famicom version, the original of Final Fantasy III, this dungeon was significantly longer, a lot more floors, and the floors were a lot bigger. And it wasn't as obvious where the hidden paths were because of how the graphics were sort of working. Kind of that early NES style of graphics, it was harder to find the hidden paths. So, no hidden paths down here. We want to head back to the left path, and that'll take us down to a southern room that will allow us to progress. And it'll give us our first piece of Genji equipment. So this is specialty equipment for the Dark Knight and also for an upcoming class we're going to get with the next crystal, which is the Earth Crystal. Yes, the Earth Crystal is still to come. Remember, it was not destroyed in Goldar's Manor. So you're going to get a full set of Genji equipment in this dungeon, and that's good because it'll all go on our Dark Knight. And then if you don't want to use a Dark Knight in the future, if you do want to use one of those job classes specifically from the next crystal, it can be used on that job as well, and I'll be showing that off later. This is one of the more annoying floors. We're going to keep heading back and forth to the left and the right through the darkness to get to the end here. We're actually almost done. I'd say we're about halfway. So we have two identical floors kind of back to back that are like this, where you just have to head to the east and then back to the left. And then you'll have two pretty distinct floors that'll tell you you're getting close to the end of the dungeon. But we did pick up another super powerful katana, the Kiku Ichimanji. Again, if I'm butchering that pronunciation, I apologize. Pretty powerful, though. We also grabbed the Dark Claws earlier in the dungeon, a stronger weapon for a black belt or a monk. So now our Dark Knight is pretty much as powerful as it can get at this point in the game. We're going to keep the double katana on it, so no, we're not going to be equipping the shield, at least not right now. But it is there if you want to use it, for the higher defense and magic defense. Alright, so that's it for the similar floors kind of back to back. So now we're going to get a little bit of a distinct floor here with a spinal column. I don't know if this was a dragon enemy or what was going on here that got attacked and eaten by all the bad guys in here. But it did not fare very well. So we get our second piece of Genji equipment here that we're going to equip, and that is the Genji helm. And there's one more piece of Genji equipment, and you may miss it. It's pretty easy to miss, because you might think, oh, I'm just going to run forward here and finish off the dungeon. But no, you want to head to the right first and actually grab the Genji armor. Good stuff. Certainly worth finding, especially if you're using the Dark Knight, or, I guess I'll spoil it, the new class coming up, which is the Ninja. One of the strongest classes in the game. So we're almost done. We'll head across another spinal column here. We'll get our party members ready here, and then we'll grab the final Fang. So there it is, the Fang of Earth. Pretty easy. Let's just grab it and get out of here. Of course it's not that easy. We'll have to take on a boss. But here we go. The Dark Shadow attacks. So he's got an interesting outfit on. You think he'd want to wear a little bit more armor to protect himself, but whatever. So the strategy is the same as it has been for a while now. We're going to buff our characters with haste. We're going to jump with our Dragoon. And in a couple of rounds, this boss will die. So not too difficult. Your physical attackers are going to do around 3,000 to 4,000 damage per attack. Dragoon's going to do 8,000 to 9,000, close to the damage cap. And then the enemy will attack a couple of times, and he will hit your party members for around 5 to 6, sometimes 700 damage with his physical attack. And then he also can use Earthquake, which will attack the whole party. So Earthquake is the ability to look out for. He doesn't always use it, but sometimes he does, and it's going to do around 5 to 600 damage to all your party members, depending on their magic defense. Here comes Quake. Ouch. But yeah, about 800 damage to our Dragoon and Knight because their magic defense is significantly lower. But he should go down probably this turn, I would imagine. Let's see if Ark can steal the kill here. Yep, down he goes. Alright, so that wasn't too bad. Pretty easy to beat him. Again, we are at level 46. We might be a little over-leveled for this area, but I like to make sure my party is prepared and ready to go. Instead of trying to scrape by. It doesn't take too long to grab a couple of levels in between each dungeon. Only about 5 to 10 minutes. So now we have the Fang of Earth. We're going to teleport out, and we're going to put those fangs to use. We are not going to go back to Dogo's Manor. Not yet. No, we're going to go get our last jobs. So I have come back out of the Cave of Shadows. I've come back over to the statues, and now we're going to use our Fang items to get rid of these statues to allow us to access the final dungeon area. Or at least the entry area of the final dungeon area. So you actually have to head back to Doga's Manor to get a key to get into the actual final dungeon, but there is a dungeon before the final dungeon. So you want to get out of your invincible and walk up to these statues, and as long as you have the fangs, it will destroy each subsequent statue. So they're all gone. So now we can progress forward to what's called the Ancient Maze. So let's hop back onto the Invincible, and we will head over to the Ancient Maze. And we'll get our last jobs from the Earth Crystal. And we also have a new letter in Mognet, and that is from Alice. So again, he's just making small talk with Ark. So Saronia is doing better since he has become king. And it's not so much that he's such a better king, it's that, you know, Gigameth isn't causing all of the chaos that he was when he was in charge, kind of as a puppet chancellor. So we're going to progress up here, and then we're going to head to the right, and that'll allow us to access the Ancient Maze. Now again, you can get in random encounters here, and this will give me a chance to show off the cannons. Fire support. Nice. So it is useful if you're going to do some level grinding. You might want to stay on the Invincible just to get that support. The enemies on the ground are actually quite a bit stronger and give more experience than in the air, but it's up to you what you want to do. Alright, so there is the Ancient Maze. So we're going to park outside, we're going to save, and then we're going to head in just to the entranceway. So we're not going to head to the left or the right to do the Ancient Maze, rather we're just going to head directly to the north and find the Earth Crystal. So this is going to give us our final jobs in the game. So it's the true Earth Crystal. But of course, before we can do anything with it, we have to take on another boss. We will be crushed. Oh no, is it a demon wall? No, it's not. It might look familiar though. Hey, it's Titan. And he's wearing the same stuff as the previous boss. But he's not a summon monster in this game, unfortunately. So we're not going to get a summon after beating him. He's just a bad guy. Same strategy as the previous boss. Jump, use haste on your physical attackers, and then keep yourself as high as possible in HP. He's going to use basically the same attacks. Physical attacks twice per turn, and he can also use the Quake ability. He's more likely to use Quake the lower his HP is. So he should go down pretty much just as quickly as the previous boss. Shouldn't take long at all. And then once he's dead, we will get access to the final jobs. Now they actually changed things up a little bit in this version compared to the original version. So in the original version, when you got the Earth Crystal, you only got 3 jobs. And the last 2 jobs, which were considered the ultimate jobs... Oh no, here comes Quake. Ouch. A little bit more damage than the previous boss, but still manageable. But they held back the 2 super classes until you actually got into the final dungeon area, the Crystal Tower. But in this game, they actually decided to just give you all of the jobs once you got the Earth Crystal. So we're going to get all 5 of the jobs right away, which is good, because we want one of those super jobs. Now they actually did nerf the 2 final jobs a little bit in this version. As Titan goes down. Kind of has a weird effect there as he fades out of existence, like a little bit of a graphical glitch or something. But the Ninja and the Sage, which were by far the 2 strongest classes in the game in the Famicom version, they wanted to, I guess, make them less powerful in this version, because they didn't want you just using them, I guess, and making a party full of ninjas and sages. So they made them more in line with the other classes. Now we're still going to use a ninja, and we may at times switch over to a sage as well, but we're not going to exclusively use them, like we might have with the Famicom version. The Earth Crystal tells you a little bit about what's been going on. Zandy's plans here are bringing forth the darkness. The Circus Tower, I don't know how to pronounce that. I pronounce it Circus, Zycrus, I don't know, something like that. And then we get bestowed with the final jobs, which are the Devout, an upgraded White Mage, the Magus, an upgraded Black Mage, the Summoner, an upgraded Evoker, and then the Ninja as well as the Sage. So we're going to turn our White Mage into a Devout. It is a pure upgrade over the White Mage. And then we're going to turn Lunith into a Ninja. But we're actually going to keep our Knight and also our Dragoon. I'm going to go over a little bit more details about all of these jobs in the next episode. And then we're also going to head south to Dogo's Manor to continue with the plot. So as always, viewers, thanks for the continued support. I truly do appreciate it. And I'll see y'all next time. So long. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please press like and leave a comment below. Please also subscribe to my channel and press the notification bell. See you next time.